Good morning, Tallahassee. It's time to wake up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi and Corey Clark.
Who the hell is this? Paging me at 5:46 in the morning. Crack of dawn and now I'm yawning. Wipe the cold
Good
out.
morning. Wake on up. It's Wake Up War Chant, 97.9 ESPN Radio. You already know our names. Aslan and Corey. Show's brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. And there are three great locations in the College Town District. Corey, Central, Madison Social, and Township. How are you, friend?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. How are you?
Pretty solid. It's a Thursday. It's a Renegade Express Day, which means I don't have to do a lot of thinking.
Right.
The people bring their queries, their big problems, their the burning questions of Seminole fans everywhere come to us, and we just sit here and we give them the truth. We give them the right direction.
We chop it up.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Chop it
That's
up.
one way to put it. So we'll get to that in later segments. But the one thing we need to talk about, it's right now going on warchant.com, and that is Corey's.
Across the
Oh, man, I missed the timing on it.
I mean, look, guys, you're not paying for like the best produced show in the world, but we got someone there that tries.
We tried.
And that's what you
It
want.
was hard to anticipate that. I didn't do enough snap.
No,
counts
that's
on it.
fine.
So the first installment of the top 40 should be on War Chant because I'm the guy who edits it, and I haven't sent over to Ira as of now, but it should be there in his inbox so that it's up and running. I can't pull this up on my phone for some reason. It won't download the list that Gene sent me. Do you remember who you put in your first 10?
I can look it up. You mean my bottom 10?
I guess so. We can.
That's
do
what
that
you're talking
too.
about. My bottom 10.
Your bottom 10.
Yeah. So for the people that don't know, we rank. You explain it to them while I'm doing.
Yeah. What Gene has done, it's the original. Apparently, there's imposters out there that are.
Yeah, a lot of people started
preseason lists, and they're doing 40 players. Do something different.
A lot of people.
Gene's been doing that forever.
Yeah.
Just do a different number. Do 38. Do 45.
All right. So yeah, we have our top 40. Each
most
of us,
important players.
Most important
success.
players. It was Gene, Ira, myself, and the much celebrated Jeff Cameron. Weekdays here at some time to another time. 3 to 6, I believe. Is
Correct.
Also, one of the hosts, probably the weakest link though of Seminole Headlines, but he's also a part of that show too. But yeah, so we ranked our top 40 most important players, and we all had different lists. Obviously, they're not all going to be the same. Right. And then Gene composites them, like ranks them based on all the votes and tallies them, and then we come up with the top 40, the composite top 40.
Yeah. A couple guys that missed the list. Amari Gaynor didn't make the list.
He made my list barely. He was like 40th in my list.
The more I think about it, I'd put him ahead of DeKalen Brooks.
Man, that's a bold
I'm saying it right now.
statement.
What's a bold statement? What's DeKalen Brooks done?
I'm just saying.
His name is DeKalen Benson. We're not having a big conversation.
We don't have to say that. I don't think he's here just because of his last name.
But I think that makes it sexy. That's why we like
it does.
it a lot.
It would be cool. It'd be cool. And I'm saying it right now, folks. But write it down in pen. He's probably going to be better than his dad. So I'm talking about Amari Gaynor.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding.
Nice.
I was talking about Brooks. Actually, Amari's dad was a nice player here too.
He
was a good wide receiver here back when the great Danny McManus was throwing passes. So yeah, we had a couple that just barely missed the list. I think Amari Gaynor and Kyle Myers were the two that people might be like, oh, that's interesting.
Oh wow, they didn't make your list.
Yeah,
I would have put Kyle Myers on the list ahead of AJ Westbrook. And spoiler alert, AJ Westbrook is on all the other guys' lists.
Yeah.
This is why they didn't invite me to the party. I just sit there behind the camera. But I'm going to use this platform, this show, for the next 9 days probably to give you guys the right 40 players.
Right, sure.
Because I can't trust these other guys. I put trust in Corey.
I mean, I feel like I did all right. Well, you don't want me to read all these, do you?
Well, just like you want to give me a couple of the guys you put 30 through 40?
Yeah, Nasir Upshur, your guy, is 31.
Okay.
He's the number 2 tight end on the list.
Looks like he's 31, too.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Warren Thompson, the incoming freshman receiver, is at 36. I think I had him like 38 or 39. I think there's a chance he could make an impact on this team.
But there's Tamorian Terry, there's DJ Matthews,
there's
Keith
injuries
Gavin.
happen. Injuries happen. And you're also talking about literally the 50th percentile of the roster. So it's not like you're going to have a superstar, you would think. A guy that makes huge impact at 38 on the list. Donis Thomas at 38 and George Campbell at 38, both tied. What do you think about that? Who do you think will make
Thomas
a bigger
would probably
impact?
not make my list.
Yeah, but I'm saying going into 2018, who do you project makes a bigger impact on the team?
Of all those guys that you just read off?
The two that tied for 38th, George Campbell or Adonis Thomas? Adonis Thomas, the linebacker.
Man, that's a
horrible
good
it's a hard
question.
one, isn't it? Yeah.
It's just to go, I don't want to answer that, but it is very equal in terms of what are these guys going to mean to the overall success of the program.
It gets really hard there, man.
He got a lot of burn, Adonis Thomas, and he actually didn't look that bad. It just, unfortunately, his parents named him Adonis, and he doesn't look anything like an Adonis, so I hold it against him.
Okay.
My name's Aslan. If you saw me at the beach, I would look like a lion. I got this gnarly chest wool on myself.
Right.
Adonis Thomas doesn't look like Adonis.
You know, he doesn't have a body of a Greek
Does
god.
not.
Okay. I haven't seen him without a shirt on, but I assume he works out.
Yeah, I'm
He's
sure
a
he
football
does.
player. And also Aguayo and Logan Tyler are both in the 30s.
I'll put Adonis Thomas just because it's I can't. I'm here to do the reverse psychology on George Campbell. So George ain't going to do it. Prove me wrong, George.
Yeah, hey, I
we
agree
want to
with
be
that,
proved
man.
wrong.
Yeah,
Want to be
sure.
proved wrong.
But there's also, man, you talk about Tamorian Terry and Keith Gavin and
Nooney,
Warren
DJ
Thompson and
Matthews.
Nooney. There's guys, man. It's going to be hard if he's ready to play in August and healthy and in the rotation. It might be hard to crack the rotation. I mean, if those guys stay healthy, they're a pretty talented group, in my opinion.
Prove me wrong, and then I'm probably going to put my foot in my mouth here. Like, when's the last time a guy just came out of nowhere in the middle of a season for Florida State?
Nooney Murray, back when Bobo got hurt, so he had to get on the field.
I guess, right.
I mean, that does happen, but it doesn't. It's rare when it would happen after your going into your fourth year that out of the blue you become a player. Yeah, that's not easy. It doesn't happen a lot. It's hard to do. It's like Phil Kofer, what he did this past year. When does that ever happen for Florida State basketball, where a guy takes such a huge leap from a junior to a first senior year?
I wish it happened more often so we could go to L.A. for the Elite Eight. That'd be cool.
Yeah, hey, man. They're going to be good again this year, you would think. Pretty good.
What's going to be pretty good is the next few segments. It's all you guys and gals with your questions. I think there actually is a female member and getting involved into the program this time around. Don't be scared.
For real.
Water's
We
just
know you're
fine.
out there.
It's 104 degrees out. Don't be scared. Get in
We're
the water.
nice. We're nice guys. Well, I mean, I'm a nice guy. Aslan's Aslan, but we all know what he is, and we like him anyway. But we're nice folks. This is certainly a female-friendly show, a woman-friendly show, right?
Correct. We'll be right back after this. It's Wake Up War Chant, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. Wake up. I'm Aslan. He is Corey. It's a Thursday. Wake Up War Chant means it's Renegade Express. Show's brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. Just a little tease ahead to tomorrow's show. Fridays are always a good thing. We'll make it a little bit better. We'll have Kendall Rogers, the managing editor of D1Baseball.com, join us, get some insight, and obviously into Mike Bell leaving for Florida State. Maybe we'll ask him who could potentially replace him and who maybe he thinks. We got to ask him, right? Who's going to replace Mike Martin, right? Who's going to replace Levin?
Yeah, that'll probably come up.
We'll ask the questions. We'll try to get the answers for you. But you guys will ask the questions and the gals. By the way, I didn't mean to finish the last segment off tersely. I just thought it was kind of funny with the way Corey set it up about we're a female-friendly show. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah, got to go to break. It was just that's the way I show humor. I just thought it was dry humor. Plus, we had to get the break for timing purposes.
I got it. Why are you being defensive?
Well, somebody tweeted at me last week. I asked you whether or not your mother attended a lot of the games that you and your father went on, and you mentioned that your mother and father had been separated. And I made a comment of what a good woman, she's a dying breed. So
right.
a woman tweeted at me and said, does that mean you don't think women belong or can enjoy football?
Oh, is that what you meant?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It's just my mother. I thought it was endearing. My mother's the same. My mom doesn't care about sports. So, she just knows, every Sunday morning her sons are going to wake up hungover because they went to a football game and she didn't care about it.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just endearing.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Just want to clear that up a little bit. All right. Shall we begin?
We're all dying breeds, really, when you think about it. Today, when you woke up this morning, you're one day closer to your death.
That's deep.
Anyway, hey, how about some Renegade Express?
BC Knowles 16, guys, fellas, gentlemen, wake up. He says it in all caps with 3 exclamation marks, but I already said wake up. So wake up. I love you too, Corey, he says.
Good. Finally.
Nothing about me. I'm not going to ask 5 questions this week. Thank you. He's got 3, though. Number 1, who do you think will be the top 3 wide receivers this year for yardage? He says DJ Matthews, Nooney, and maybe Tamorian Terry. By the way, I think we need to get clarification on his name. Because when you guys
T squared?
When you guys were recording, I think Gene pronounced it Tamarian. I've always said Tamorian.
I think it's Rrion, right?
I thought it was An. At least in
then
this,
that would be Tamarian.
This question from BC Knoll 16 spells it
What comes after the M? That's what we got to figure out, and that's what we'll know how to pronounce.
ORR.
So that's Tamorian. If it comes after the M, it's Tamorian.
Okay. All right. Who do you think the three guys are going to be, man?
I think, definitely DJ and Nooney, I think, are the first two. And then, to me, it's between Terry and Gavin. I think Terry has a chance to be a really good player, but we haven't seen it yet. Gavin has some experience, so we'll see. But he wasn't all that impressive in the spring game, and Terry was we just know what Willie feels about him. Because Willie went, talked about he was one of the guys that really stood out the very first bowl practice he watched back in December. That's one of the first names he learned was Tamorian, not Tamarian. Tamorian Terry, and so Willie likes him, and it was certainly evident why in the spring game. So I think I'll go. I think I'll go with that too.
You could almost pronounce
I don't want to fake
Tamorian.
Tamorian. That's
you almost could even pronounce it that way, but it is TAMORRION.
So traditional spelling, and I guess that would be Tamorian. But
at least.
But yeah, I mean,
so
I don't want to fade. I don't want to fade Keith Gavin so much yet. I mean, he was hurt a little bit last year. He made some nice plays.
He's broken. That Alabama game broke his spirit.
So I think there's a chance he could have a really nice year. He's a talented dude, and he's older.
Yeah, I was being sarcastic, but I think it's going to be Terry, Nooney, DJ. I go like reverse order.
Oh, you think Terry's going to lead the team
yardage,
in yardage?
Man.
All right.
I mean, what do you think about? Passes a game, but it's going to be for 97 yards.
You're thinking about 37 for 720, something like that in there. 44 for 880, something like that. About 20 yards a catch.
Yeah, about.
Okay.
About.
All right. It's a tough schedule. But
stop!
It's a tough schedule. We'll have to see.
I really wish. I mean, I wonder if I don't know. I don't want to be. I don't want to play that game. But like, if you put the schedule for the Gators and you showed people this is the Gator schedule, the one that we have, whatever. Like, well, man, it's got to be tough for Dan Mullen. Year number one. It's a really tough schedule. Or they're like, it's the Gators. That's nothing.
What is their schedule?
It's because it's us.
Well, true. They do have Georgia. I don't know if they play Alabama or not.
They do not. I'm pretty sure they
don't. They have a tough opener? Aren't they going somewhere they never go? Aren't they going like out west or something?
No, they did that last year. That was the first like non-conference game outside the state of Florida they'd played since the Reagan administration.
They played Michigan.
Right? Yeah.
In one of the games.
He lost. Football. They lost.
Yeah, of course. They
losers.
Lost almost all of them.
Lost all your games, losers. Second question: who do you think will lead the team in receiving touchdowns?
That one, man. I don't know.
Tamorian Terry.
It's hard, man. I don't know.
I'm all in on Tamorian Terry. And then over/under defensive and special team scores this year. I'm going to say 3.5. I think would be a good over/under number.
Yeah, their schedule, Florida's schedule's not great. I would say under that.
Okay. Is that a bad number though? 3.5 would 2.5 be a better number?
I think a 3.5 is a perfect number because there's a chance they could have 4 or 5. But
they got Samford, they got Northern Illinois. Who are we going to get a pick six or a scoop and score?
Well, what you're hoping for, honestly, is our man Brian Burns has a couple of strip sacks that get picked up and returned for touchdowns
by my guy Amari Gaynor.
Yeah,
Ferrari.
Flying off the edge. Because that's you have a guy like DeMarcus Walker that can go and make a real impact in every game, or a Bjorn Werner. These defensive ends that wreck offenses. He could be that guy, right? I know he's built differently than those two, but go make an impact. Go be a prime-time elite college football player, Brian Burns. You too, Kane Doe.
Is he too one-dimensional, though, Brian Burns? Is he not big enough to teams just know? I mean, his whole thing is pass rush. I mean, I guess if you have enough moves in your arsenal, it doesn't really matter whether the tackle knows you're going to come at him full bore and you're going to spin off of them or you're going to rip through them or whatever. I just don't know. Like DeMarcus Walker, DeMarcus Walker's like blowing guys up. DeMarcus Walker was moving in the interior and slippery enough to slide through.
Yeah.
I mean, they put him in so many different spots. Like that Ole Miss game, they kept moving him everywhere, and he was wreaking havoc in that game. Like Brian Burns.
Yeah, well, they're not going to line him up in the middle.
Yeah, Brian Burns is Brian Burns. He's going to come off the edge, and he's probably not going to have a whole lot of thought on stopping the run.
But you hope that he's such a weapon. He wreaks so much havoc that he becomes unblockable by a tackle, and they have to help out.
Yeah.
Just make them use another offensive player to keep you out of the backfield. and then you've done your job.
And then you don't have the big stat numbers, and you have to come back for your senior year.
That's true, and do it all over again and prove us wrong. By the way, Florida's schedule
Go
is
for it. You can take some time on this. Really breathe.
pretty easy. They open up with Charleston Southern,
Okay.
Kentucky at home, Colorado State at home.
That's the one thing they've maintained, though, right? They still haven't lost to Kentucky, despite all this horrible.
It's crazy, like
fortune.
20-something years in a row. It's nuts. What the
They
heck,
didn't even.
Kentucky?
They literally didn't cover the guy last year.
Yeah,
they did
twice.
They didn't cover the guy at all.
You take that game away where Kentucky literally didn't cover Florida's receiver twice, and that's how they scored 2 touchdowns. And the Hail Mary against Tennessee. Yeah. Florida won a game like that.
2-8.
Otherwise, they're 2-9.
2-9, yeah.
So they got Kentucky, they got Charleston Southern, Kentucky, Colorado State. That's how they open up their season.
I think Colorado State, that was part of McElwain's contract,
Right.
that if he left,
and I think they were supposed to play him last year, but it got canceled because of the hurricane, maybe. I could be wrong about that. Then at Tennessee, I mean, nothing.
Jeremy Pruitt ain't losing.
That's not hard. I mean, you could lose that game because you're Florida, but it's not a daunting. At Mississippi State.
Please, if we were playing at Tennessee, people in Florida State circles like, man, it'll be tough, man. That's Tennessee. It's Neyland Stadium.
Sure, but it's not Alabama. It's not daunting. You can win that. It's not.
That's a huge rivalry game. You can't poo-poo that game. I'm not trying to defend these idiots, but come on.
They've won 11 out of 12 against Tennessee, or 15 out of 17. Yeah. They're not scared of Tennessee. Yeah. At Mississippi State. I mean, sure, these are all losable because they're Florida.
That's a big emotional game. That's Dan Mullen's old school.
I would say
out for blood.
I would say at Louisville, at Miami is a much tougher combo than at Tennessee, at Mississippi State.
I'd rather play at Miami than at Tennessee.
That's crazy talk. Anyway, then LSU at home, again, certainly winnable.
What's
at Vanderbilt? Miami? At Vanderbilt. Georgia and Jacksonville is a dicey one for them.
Loss.
Missouri at home. South Carolina at home. Yeah. Idaho at home. At Florida State. So there's a chance they're probably, when you look at this, when the season starts, they will have 3 ranked teams on their schedule. Georgia, LSU, and Florida State, and LSU probably doesn't deserve to be ranked. That's an easy schedule. Anyway, that's easier than Florida State's.
But I think at Mississippi State's a tough game because that's where he used to coach. That team's going to be out for blood. That's a tough game.
Sure.
That's 4 games. I mean, that's 3.
I mean, look,
and
they can lose. They went 4-8 last year. They've proven they can lose to anyone.
Here's not because I'm a miserable human being. I mean, I talked about this on my sports cast last year in Dothan, Alabama. Like, there's not a lot of really good football teams. At least last year, there wasn't a lot of good college football teams last year. I really thought I'm like, it's Alabama. To me, it was Alabama, and not even Alabama so much. I had Auburn ahead of them the whole year. I had Auburn beating them in the Iron Bowl, and they did. When we were in October, I thought Oklahoma was definitely one of the best teams in the nation, despite the fact they had lost earlier in the year and were working their way back up after they lost to Iowa State inexplicably. But that was a team I wouldn't want to play. There was only like 2 good teams, really, when all was said and done.
I mean, it's just the way the sport is now. There's not a lot of greatness out there.
Yeah,
there's some good. I mean, even Alabama, they lost the game, right? Didn't they?
Yeah, they lost to
Auburn.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
They lost Auburn in the Iron Bowl.
But also
they didn't win their quote state championship. They didn't win their division title. They didn't play for their conference title.
And
but they made it to the playoff and they won the
quite frankly struggled against a 6-loss Florida State team. I mean, they weren't a great Alabama team. They just aren't great Alabama.
They were on the ropes against Mississippi State. They were losing that game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So that's how it is, man. You can literally you play well, you can win. You play poorly, you can lose to almost everyone on your schedule. That goes for every team in the country, in my opinion, except Alabama. Maybe Alabama can play poorly and still win most of their games.
Yeah. There's a question along the lines of that further down in the Renegade Express mailbox. We'll get to that and more when we come right back here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Wake Up War Chant.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
Hey, welcome back. It's Wake Up War Chants, 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. Their 3 locations are Central, Madison Social Township. Check them out. Tell them Aslan and Corey sent you. They probably don't even know who we are, but it's okay. Let's get back to the Renegade Express. The cool thing about this thread is there's like 19 posts. It's like, oh, look at all these people wanting to talk to Corey and an A-man. But it's because Bimini Bound asked a question, and everybody decided to reply to it in the Renegade Express thread.
Oh, let's hear
There's
the
rules,
question.
people. There's rules. Take the conversations outside the thread.
Yeah.
Just for the people who want to ask questions.
DM him. Slide up into his DMs and answer it.
By the way, I'm kidding. It's all great. Talk about everything. It's July. We need what we can do. This question is about scoring a lot of points and Willie Taggart's, quote, killer instinct that some say Jimbo lacked. Assuming a victory against Virginia Tech, looking at the 2 games versus Samford, or rather game 2 versus Samford, how many points would it take to wow you or make you feel guilty for scoring so many? He also cites a quote from USF. Taggart once said, to take a knee for anybody, where is that in the rule book where it says you have to do that? For anyone to be upset, that's not my fault, you know. We're trying to score points.
Okay, well, that's a good quote. And, Bowden said something similar to, all the coaches of really good teams say that. He said for the Samford game?
Yeah, what?
There's not
how many points?
No,
Yeah,
there's not a number.
Nope.
Really, 100 would actually really anger me. 90 would anger me. 80 would anger me.
Yeah.
You don't need, especially 5 days after the other game, just get your W and move on and get your young guys some playing time.
All right. The next
get Amari Gaynor up that list of top 40 players.
A person quoted that question and said, love it. Next person quoted, said, love this. I guess I'd feel a little bit bad if we won by $100. Next person, BC Knowles actually gets back into things. I love scoring points. I wouldn't feel bad if we beat anybody by 100 plus. West Uvalno, exactly.
Was the question, what would you feel bad about, or what would impress you?
What would wow you, or what would you feel bad about? I really think anything over 40 is like embarrassing almost.
I don't agree with that. But
That's like the Big 12 on a week-to-week basis.
Well, right. But I think if you get into the 70s against a team like Samford, then you just need to. That's one of those things. I know you want to give some guys playing time, and that'll be their first chance for some of those guys. So you don't want to tell them to stop. Right. You don't want to tell them to slow, but you don't have to run a play every 9 seconds if you're up by 45 points against a team that's like Samford.
If he goes no huddle up tempo, up 66-3 against Samford, I won't like it.
Against Samford. Now, if he was doing that against, say, Northern Illinois, I would be on the field cheering.
Because you don't like Northern Illinois.
Of course. But Northern Illinois is also a D1 team. Screw them for the game 6 years ago. That's fine. Make them take a knee. I get all that. If you're doing that against an ACC team, that's fine. But this is a pay game. They're getting paid to come over here. You don't need to try to embarrass Samford. If you want to embarrass one of your ACC foes or the team at the end of the year, have at it, man. Try to score 100 on them.
Okay, fair enough.
That makes sense, right?
Also, yeah, it depends, too. If you kind of let off the gas a little bit, but then they press down and they start trying to score on you, then you can retaliate. But I think you need to be – there's that sort of unspoken agreement, like the other team is quitting on you.
Yeah.
You got to quit as well.
There was a game, I feel like it was 1988, going back in time, when Florida State was playing Tulane.
Everybody gather around. Uncle Corey's got a story.
They're playing Tulane in the Superdome back when they used to play Tulane, and Tulane was actually an okay program. And I think Florida State had a 4-touchdown lead or something in the fourth quarter, and Tulane scored, and then tried an onside kick and didn't get it, and Bowden put in his first team offense and started throwing passes.
Ooh.
And I feel like whoever,
Klecker.
I'm telling you, man, I think his comment after the game was, if y'all wanted us to take a knee, don't onside kick it. Once you onside kick it, man, all bets are off. I mean, you're trying to win, then we're going to try to win. Or we're going to try to score if you're going to try to do that. We would take a knee or at least run the fullback dive, but you had to go onside kick it. So, all right, we'll go score for you again.
Well, maybe some people would appreciate you sending out your onside kick unit so you could practice that in a live game situation.
Sure, good point.
Bobby's maybe not as merciful as you all thought he was. Carlsbad Noel asks, does Rivals, the main Rivals.com, hire trolls to peruse the sites and post the same old-type posts that rile up the fan base like FSU's in a free fall? It's okay if they do, and it probably makes sense to drive clicks.
I don't know of that, but that actually is that's not a terrible idea.
It doesn't matter how much you guys click on warchant.com. We already got your money, guys. And
it's always good to have conversation.
Yeah.
It's always good to just have conversations going on your boards. Not a war chant. Why would they wouldn't put anybody on war chant to do that?
Or like the top dog. Everybody looks at Gene and tries to steal his playbook.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
For real, it's
war
cool.
chant is,
it is cool. Like when you go,
the big one.
When we were in Atlanta for the whole 5-star thing, it's like, Gene walks into a room and people are like, oh, hey.
It's the Godfather.
Yeah, it really is. He sleeps 10 feet away.
May your first son be a masculine child.
Yeah. Hey, let's get to that question I sort of hinted at there. Candy for Knowles. There we go.
Here we go.
Candy for Knowles. I imagine her name is Candy. maybe Candace, probably short for Candace, Candi, or maybe it's Cynthia.
You don't think it's Candy Fisher, do you?
There's a photo of Jameis with a young boy, but it's neither Ethan nor
Okay,
Trey.
so not
so I don't
okay.
think so.
All right, I would.
Her
assume,
location says Grayson, Georgia. Should I have said that? It's
probably
on
not.
It's on
but
the website.
It's on there, and also Grayson, Georgia's right around my neck of the woods up there.
Candy, anybody mess with you? You tell me. All right, I'm sorry.
Gwinnett County, baby.
I didn't mean to disclose your location. I apologize. She says, "Good morning to both of us. Good job filling up the most boring month of sports, but no World Cup talk." Well, Candy, I'm glad you asked. Croatia versus France. What do you think about that, Corey?
You really asking me that question?
Yeah. France, just say France.
I mean, okay, France easily. Croatia shouldn't even. The Croats shouldn't even show up.
Croats.
I call them Croats.
My buddy asked me, he's like, "How do you pronounce that? Is it Croats?" Or I'm like, "It's Croats."
It's Croat. The Croats.
Yeah.
The Croats shouldn't show up because the frogs got something for them.
Whoa! Why are you being?
Isn't that what it's all about? The World Cup is like nationalism and xenophobia a little bit. You don't like that country. You don't like this country.
France versus England would have been so much sexier than Croatia. The crazy thing is, every 20 years, I guess they said there's a first-time winner of the World Cup. So 20 years ago was 98. France won their first World Cup.
Beat Brazil, if I recall correct.
Boom, you're on top of it. So, I mean, obviously France has won a World Cup, and the only team that was left, even yesterday when they played England, is Croatia.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if you want to put money on that, folks.
That's pretty cool that they have like the population of Oregon.
Like 4 million, I think.
Yeah, and they're in the. I mean, that's crazy. I wouldn't have thought Croatia was such a soccer crazed country.
Yeah, well, they're part of the former Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia used to have a pretty good soccer team.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
So they got Luka Modric.
They are really good. Like I don't know much about soccer, but they deserve to win that game.
Yeah, and they played extra time. I think they've
3 in a row.
Yeah.
3 in a row. There's your World Cup talk, Candy, and thank you for subscribing and asking questions.
Candy's going next level on us. So much talk about 2018 and can we get 10 wins? How are y'all feeling about 2019? Are we feeling national championship potential? Follow along. We won in 93 and 99. Do we get both 13 and 19? See the symmetry. Also, it will be Willie's honeymoon year. See Kirby 2017, Rick 2017, Rick 2002, Georgia, etc. We'll have a third-year starting quarterback, Cam's third year. Won't all the stars be aligned?
Yeah, I mean, they should be really good in 2019. I guess we have to see how this new crop of players look and how they play, but it certainly would appear that they're going to be pretty darn talented. I mean, Cam Akers will be back, LeBourne will be back, the tight ends will be back, your quarterback will be back, most of your defense will be back.
As hyped, more hyped, less hyped, or about as hyped as the 2017 edition, do you think it'll be?
I think more hyped.
We were big hype last year, man.
Maybe I wasn't on that bandwagon as much as I should have been. Because I had them, 4th or 5th in the country or whatever I had them, but I was skeptical. We'll see how this season goes. If they go win 8 or 9 games or 10 games and look like an offense that just blitzes people, then there'll be a lot of hype going into next season.
All right. Next question comes from Rookie Baby. What's up, Aslan and Corey? Great show. We're getting to the home stretch of the summer. Thanks for providing great content during the dead season of the summer.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Some people don't appreciate that. I know it's our job to do that, but it's tough, guys and ladies. It's tough sometimes.
It is.
His question is, hey, guys, what is your favorite Jameis Winston moment aside from that game-winning drive of the national title? Rookie Baby's favorite is the Hail Mary at the half, before the half against Boston College. That play always stuck with me. For some reason, I know has been perplexing off the field, but he was a beast on the field. Go Noles.
Perplexing is a
great word choice.
Good word.
Very apt.
Man, there were a lot of them.
Favorite.
It's hard.
Clemson pregame speech is pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was, to me, because he'd already had the crazy Boston College play. He'd already had the crazy Maryland play where he found O'Leary in the end zone. He threw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, the unconscious opener against Pitt.
It was unbelievable. That was the best game I'd ever seen a college quarterback play, and it was his first one. And then that moment, because I didn't see it in real time because I was at the game.
Because you're a professional, you watched the game, yeah.
But I can only imagine how Florida State fans watching that, because I think they must have showed that right before the game.
Pretty sure they did.
Just what they must have thought about this guy, because the whole talk was, Jameis has been great, but his 2 road games were at Pitt and Boston College. Ooh, that's really tough.
And we were vulnerable in Boston College.
Yeah, he played well, but sure. And Clemson was trying to set that noise record. They were all just so certain that he would be petrified.
Taj Boyd and the Tigers.
It was their moment. It was their time, and what they've been, and they're going to set the noise record, and they were the favorite, and that it was the biggest ACC game maybe in history.
Whoa, watch out! Oh, LaMarcus Joyner's coming off the edge.
Yeah,
sorry.
I thought I had a bug on me the way you were looking at me right there.
LaMarcus Joyner coming off the edge.
But so all that going into it, he was supposed to be petrified, and Florida State fans hadn't won in Clemson in forever. And to see that clip of him smiling and joking around 15 minutes before the game while they're on their crazy bus tour around the stadium, Florida State fans must have had to be like, okay, this is just a different cat. He literally isn't nervous, and he wasn't. He threw one interception. It was because somebody ran a wrong route.
Kind of crazy though, man. It really shows us a glimpse into how crazy of a man he is. But God bless.
Right? It just didn't. Yeah. The nerves just don't compute. He was really excited to go play that game. He wasn't nervous in the least. In that moment, kind of showed it. And then he went out and threw for whatever he threw 400 and some yards.
Just roasted them. I would say probably that. Either that or, oddly enough, his halftime speech of the Ole Miss game. The year or 2 years after he graduated.
Yeah,
the whole,
sure.
Puppies.
Sure.
It's just crazy. Rick Trickett's like, I know Coach Trickett up in that.
Yeah.
Beep.
Yeah. I could have done without that, but the this pregame speech where he's actually a member of the team. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But for one single play, the Boston College thing was just ridiculous.
Okay. True Knoll, we need to give him a nickname. He's the one that has the very, odd join date.
Oh, we don't want to give him a nickname based on that.
Well, obviously not, but because we say all these names. True Knoll,
right?
Just remember the name.
Yeah,
True Knoll.
That's
the
I
person.
thought that when you said it just now, I'm like, okay, that's our guy.
He congratulates us, or rather compliments us, on the David Teal interview. He would like to hear from former Seminole athletes and coaches of any sport. We'll see what we can do.
Well, of any sport, I guess any sport. Yeah.
Here's a weekly question. This time the trigger Asian. Spelled my name Asian.
Right. Well,
we'll keep going. He wants to trigger me. Jimbo had what seems to me to be a large number of bad, awful, embarrassing, and inexplicable losses. These may have begun earlier, but the first one I can clearly recall was NC State 2012 with a slew of them after that. What would you label as Jimbo's most inexplicable loss, the one that you never saw coming? I'm going to go with Georgia Tech in 2015. That loss still totally pisses me off. Pretty sure that was their only ACC win that year.
That is correct.
That is correct. The most inexplicable loss. It's college football, brother. Any given Saturday, you never know. It's not like he lost to Georgia Southern.
Well, true. And Georgia Southern didn't even complete a pass when they won in the state of Florida a few years ago.
I couldn't even appreciate the horrendousness of that Boston College game because I was working, because it was a Friday night. I did my high school football show.
You didn't miss much.
Yeah.
Inexplicable. That
I gave up on 12. Listen, if you follow along with the show, I didn't mean to come off mean there.
You gave up on
I gave up on him.
Yeah. But remember, it wasn't just that he lost one game in 2012 when he had a $16-0 lead. It was on the heels of the previous
Wake
season.
Forest in 11
That's what I'm saying.
That was
the 2011
We're losing Wake Forest again? You're not supposed to lose at Wake Forest. That's why we brought you here.
After a week off, like a bye week. Like they had lost to Clemson. They lost to Oklahoma and Clemson at Clemson. All right, fine. Without your starting quarterback. But then you have a week off, and you go to Wake Forest, and you lose that game too.
Right.
That, to me, is still probably number one in his inexplicable loss meter. Yeah. Followed by...
Was it Virginia or North Carolina 2010? That was just... How did we lose? Did we lose to Virginia at home? We lost to Virginia at home.
That was the same year as Wake. That was 2011. So, yeah, that one was inexplicable. That was when he told us that Burt Reed tried to intentionally drop the pass. And then you had the NC State one. You had the Georgia Tech one. Those were all... The Louisville loss... In 2016, not losing to that team, but the way they looked was inexplicable. Yeah. I mean, he had about 5 or 6 just straight, flat, inexplicable performances from his team. And I would say to me, it's always Wake Forest 1, and then everything else after that. I know on headlines we make fun of the 2012 NC State game the most, but that was still a bowl team. Yeah. And, you lost by a point because a guy would have intercepted a pass, but your other defender knocked it down, blah, blah, blah. There were a lot of things that went into that one. The Wake Forest game, they just were not prepared to play. He wasn't going to play EJ for some inexplicable reason. And then all of a sudden in the middle, because of health reasons, but all of a sudden in the middle of the second quarter when Trickett's playing like garbage, EJ can play now. And if they'd have just started EJ, they'd have won by 2 touchdowns.
More questions and phone calls coming up after this. It's Wake Up War Chant, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Thursday edition of Wake Up War Chant, the Renegade Express, nearing its end, but we got a few more stops on our sojourn. Let's see if we can maybe pick it up a click. Noel Biz basically wants us to maybe do a segment where we talk to a former or a writer up in East Lansing to get an idea of what kind of guy, coach Harlan Barnett is. I don't know if we can get 10 minutes out of that. Listen, if somebody called you and was like, hey, man, can you talk about Mark Stoops for 15 minutes? Would you want to? Probably not. But we can maybe get something like that.
I did that, though, when he was hired. I talked to one of the guys. I think it was the sideline reporter from Michigan State.
Really?
And he just was glowing about Barnett. Yeah. Glowing.
JDog_20_8 basically wants to thank us for recommending shows on Netflix. Staircase was great.
Okay, right.
Narcos was good, too. I said Narcos. I get good. You get great, of course. I really want Handmaid's Tale. He watched Tower after Corey's mention of that. So far, I think we all have similar tastes or similar likes. My recommendation to you would be Money Heist. Please send more.
I've heard of Money. I mean, I've heard of it. I've seen it, and I probably will try to watch that at some point. Handmaid's Tale, I have watched. It's really dark.
Right.
Really dark. And I didn't even know what it was when I started watching it. Stephanie just told me that it was good. But it's super, super dark. But good. Well done if you're into, being angry and depressed.
Yeah. Watch The Wire if you haven't watched it.
Lord. Yes, absolutely.
That's
watch The Wire. Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
You want to talk about dark show? I didn't like Breaking Bad, but then I binged on Breaking Bad when I was unemployed. I was on my sabbatical for a year. That was a dark time.
Well, sure.
Watching that show and then just not having anything to do all day.
You should have been watching like Fraggle Rock or Sesame Street or something.
Yeah. The Navy, Noel, he's got 3 posts. I think he joined because he thought we were so cool.
Oh, well, probably not the only one there, Navy Noel.
Navy Noel says, wake up, fellas. You, too, are able to travel back in time in Aslan's DeLorean to the Alabama game where you can make one critical change. Do you get the win against Bama but lose Frenchie to injury? Or do you lose to Bama but Frenchie is healthy the rest of the year? After making this choice, does it have any impact on the rest of the season? Or do we still go 7-6? By the way, as a Navy pilot, Ass Man is an awesome calling for Aslan. LOL'd when I heard that last week from a caller. Keep up the great works in the dog days of the summer.
That would be good. Like Maverick and your wingman, Ass Man. Be nice. I would think you would take the loss but keep Francois healthy. And yes, the record is markedly different. I think you could probably get to 10 wins. I think you beat Miami. I think you beat NC State. I think you beat Louisville. So there you go.
No. I beat Alabama. I lose French. I think the team has so much more resolve and rallies if they win that game. I think you beat Alabama, it changes your life. It's winning the lottery. I mean, I know we're Florida State and we don't have moral victories or one game doesn't define a program, but man, you beat Alabama last year with all the hype that's on the line there. You find a way to overcome DeAndre Francois' injury. And who knows, maybe the guy doesn't leave. Maybe he doesn't check out. Maybe he's not so quick to listen to text. I mean, he probably still leaves, but maybe he's more engaged, your head football coach, throughout the year when he...
Well, he might have been that way anyway if Francois was his quarterback. I think he kind of punted on the season when Florida State fans punted on the season.
Gotcha. Fan favorite, Maxwell Gibbs. I know you two missed me calling in. Hey, where you been, buddy? Next week he will. All right, he promises.
Good.
We'll keep you to that. So, Maxwell Gibbs, not only does he live in the Lower East Side, which is one of the most, hotly desired locations in all of the world, his girlfriend's a Brazilian.
Good for Maxwell.
Look at that. My girlfriend's Brazilian. She didn't come to the States until she came to college, but she went to school here in the city. I'm bringing her down with me for the Virginia Tech game to show her what a real college town is and what game day is all about. But how do I even explain football to her? She doesn't understand a single aspect of it, and I've never, ever had to explain football to anybody in my 25 years of existence. Help me here, guys. Oh, geez. I've got a Brazilian girlfriend, and I don't know how to explain football to her. Help me.
I know. What a nightmare you must be living right now, Maxwell. My wallet's too small for all these 50s I'm trying to cram into it. Maxwell.
My back's hurting me because my wallet's so thick it's throwing my discs off.
Jeez. I mean, tell them it's like soccer, but you can tackle, and the people don't fake like they've been shot. When that is true, when a football player is down on the field, he is legitimately hurt, and it's not a show. And I've never seen a football trainer ever, an American football trainer, spray something on a guy's leg like it's some miracle spray in a can or something. Also, Maxwell seems like, I was thinking about this. We have callers. I feel like we could use like a theme song.
When we go to the phone lines, you're saying?
Or just in life, just to play hey, now you're listening to Wake Up War Chant, and it's somebody singing.
Like a jingle.
We
got the guy that's like, you're locked into 97.9 Spin Radio's Wake Up War Chant.
But there's so many songs that have Wake Up in it, like to the tune of, Wake Me Up Before You Go.
Right.
Wake Up Little Susie.
Is that a real
Wake
song?
Up, yeah. Wake Up a Little Susie, wake up. Yeah, never heard that?
Who sings that?
The Everly Brothers, I think. But it's late 50s. It's before your time.
I ain't got soul like you do.
Wake Up Maggie, the Rod Stewart with Maggie
yeah.
May. There's a lot of wake-ups out there. I feel like somebody could come up with a jingle and sing it to us, and we can judge if it belongs on our show. And I think like Maxwell would be a great first candidate. He seems like the kind of guy that would.
Okay. Hey, Josh from St. Louis called into the feedback line, but his call kind of broke up and was staticky, so I'm just going to read it. Basically, he asks us, offensive line, the fact that the run game is going to be such a valuable asset, how much does that change your sort of opinion on how good or bad this offensive line can be this year, Corey?
It doesn't. I think the scheme will produce a lot of rushing yards. I don't know if the offensive linemen will be
responsible, really?
Well, they'll be responsible because they're moving guys around, but I don't know that you would call them an elite. I don't expect them to be elite. I expect them to be okay, but I still expect an okay offensive line to be able to produce a lot of rushing yards in this offense, if that makes sense. A great offensive line would be almost unbeatable.
All right, fair enough. Let's try to blitz through some of these questions that we have on the caller line. Let's go to it right now.
What's going on, guys? This is Eric, a.k.a. Eno_2000 on the boards. Question is for Corey. Had he known that Jacob Pugh was going to be so forthcoming in his interview last year, what would you have asked him if you knew that he was going to be as brutally honest as he was? Love the show, guys. Keep up the good work. Joe Knowles. Peace out.
I think it says peace out. It literally says, keep up the good work. They'll knows pizza.
They'll knows pizza. That's a slogan for the show right there. They'll know pizza. They'll knows pizza.
I think somebody asked us this before.
Well, I don't remember that. I don't remember getting the question before, but I do remember. I feel like because you could tell right away when Jacob Pugh sat down that he was going to be. He wasn't giving us the normal platitudes. He was going to answer honestly.
So from the jump, you knew, like this was going down.
Couple questions, yeah. And so I think he was asked kind of everything that you would want to ask. Like, did you see this coming? What's the difference? What can you do? And can you explain it? All those things that you would have asked that you really want to try to get insight from, he answered, or he was asked anyway. But, it's just one guy's opinion. But that was I don't think we got old Jacob again after that. But it was really enlightening and really refreshing.
I would have asked him something about Charles Kelly and just whether I can't ask him, like, do you believe in him still? But I would try to ask him some sort of roundabout question about whether or not he has confidence in his defensive coordinator, or if they're being put in the right position to make plays, to kind of see what he would say.
That's a gotcha question, but I like it. Trust me, all those guys were asked about Charles Kelly. They all stood behind him because, of course, maybe in that particular setting, Jacob Pugh was just pew, pew, pew. He was taking shots everywhere.
It's a rhetorical question. I could have asked whatever I wanted to, Corey. Don't shout down my hopes and dreams.
Sorry, I saw.
Next question.
Hey, guys. Jim in Tampa. Great job. Listen, I'm really starting to get pumped up about this season and the possibilities of our offense. I've been watching some of the old USF and Oregon teams on YouTube and just seeing what their offenses could do and what our athletes could be in that offense is just amazing. I think we average like 35, 40 points a game. So what do y'all think? Talk to you later. Bye.
That's Jim in Tampa. Average about 35 to 40 points a game.
Jay from the T.
813.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I feel like they'll probably finish second in the conference in scoring.
It's about right.
Doesn't that seem about right? I mean, last year was such a dismal nightmare.
Again, you're going to hang.
Well, you're going to hang 96 on Samford. So no holds barred there. Not stepping off the gas for that one.
Northern Illinois is going to get it.
Oh, I hope they get 120 dropped on them.
But then everything else, I don't know, man. I mean, Miami's never been historically a high-scoring game. What's the most points you've ever? Actually, the 2010 when we just started, Chris Thompson just eviscerated them.
40. Yeah, so you're right. Again, you're right. I would assume probably low 30s is what they're going to average. I would think. But
I'll go below 35 then. I'll take the under.
Yeah, I think I would too. But I think they'll average scoring 4 touchdowns a game. And typically, at a place like Florida State, if you score 4 touchdowns a game, you're going to win that game.
Do you want me to hit play on this? It's 19 seconds long, but the transcription, all it says was, I was on Corey. Love the server, guys.
I feel like we need to hear what that says.
All right.
Aslan, Corey, love the show, guys.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's real good. Thanks.
15, 16, 17. That's a wrap. Thanks for listening to Wake Up War Channel 979.
Aslan, Corey.
No, it's just
love the show, guys.
It just replayed.
And we love you. Yeah. We love. Hey, if people want to do that, I'm all for that too. I love positive reinforcement.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Don't even a question. Just saying we love the show. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
And you know I love you.
Talking to me?
No, the caller.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, we are done after all. We're going to do a show tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
We'll talk about more of Corey's Top 40.
Oh boy!
By the way, we botched it. You spilled the composite. Do you have a second to pull out?
You want my top 40?
Yeah, because
you
again,
want my 40.
we got to tease this.
Sure.
Subscribers.
Well, then heck, I'll give you my 40 because it doesn't really matter. It's not the composite. It's not what we did the video on.
Well, that's what's going to be used to lure in new subscribers to come join the fam.
Okay.
But I want to know you. I don't want to know about Jeff or Ira or Gene. I want to know what Corey, when Corey sat down with pen and pad and had to do the absolutely unenviable task of having to rate.
Unenviable. I like it. All right, yeah.
40
it's tough.
kids.
It's
That's
tough.
brutal, man.
All right, so here you go. You ready?
40th.
40th is Amari Gaynor.
Okay. I think
he might be up there in the 20s by the time the season's over. We'll see. He's rangy and mean on the field, I mean. 39, Carlos Becker.
Ooh. I mean, he's been hurt. He's enticing, but he's been battling stuff.
38, Janarius Robinson. Think he might have to get some snaps, perhaps.
He will.
Maybe make an impact. 37, Warren Thompson, our incoming freshman receiver.
Okay.
I feel like one of those guys out of the 4 is probably going to have some sort of impact. Out of the 4 incoming wide receivers, I just assume I picked him because he was the highest rated. Yeah. So now you have a window.
I would have put Jordan. I'm going to put Jordan Young in front of him.
Man, I almost did actually. 36, Asante Samuel. Think he's going to get on the field and play a good bit. 35, Logan Tyler. Got to have the punter. Although Willie ain't punting this year. He ain't punting. And he ain't kicking either, Ricky. Sorry.
Punting's for punks.
This coach actually goes for it on 4th down. 34, A.J. Westbrook. 33, Wally Ame. Wolverinsky.
Wolverine.
That's a good one, man. I hate going by nicknames, using their actual names, but that's a good one. Wolverine, are you kidding? Man. Nasir Upshur, 32.
Speed it up. We got to go.
And Fred Jones, 31.
Wow.
Yeah, man, backup D tackle, but he
32?
plays. Nasir Upshur. Which I think is exactly what he was in the composite.
You got him ahead of my guy.
Who's your guy?
You got Fred Jones ahead of my guy. You got Fred Jones.
Yeah, well, he's backup tight end. I feel like the backup defensive tackle will have more of an impact. Because I think he's a good player, and he'll make plays.
He is.
And he also plays fullback some, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
Like in the heavy set, jumbo set or whatever.
Dang, Skip.
All right, man. We're one day closer to the weekend. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I really do appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow with another round of Wake Up War Chant. He's Corey Maslow. Thanks for listening. Jeff Cameron coming up at 3.
The Sod Cemetery, Osceola and Renegade, and of course, the War Chant. These are great traditions known to all Seminole fans. If you are a card-carrying, garnet and gold-wearing Knoll, don't you deserve a site that is truly dedicated to covering FSU sports? WarChant.com's staff has over 50 years of experience covering the Seminoles. WarChant.com is the only FSU outlet with a full-time recruiting analyst in Tallahassee. Plus, it's the only site with a full-time videographer and a daily podcast, 100% dedicated to FSU sports. Why act like Gators and settle for second best? WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.